What's goody, boys? GCTV back with another video, and in this video we are going to be talking about this week in the NFL. We had some really good games here. Sundays make for the thrills, the thrill ride that is the NFL season. Thursdays and Monday primetime games as well. But we're here, man. We're here to talk about it. We're going to talk about every single game. Kind of summarize each game. We don't want to talk too much about each game. If there's big, important things that happen, it is what it is. But, yeah, Steelers and Browns, a division matchup to start the week on Thursday Night Football. Jacoby Brissett and the Browns rebound from a collapse. They beat the Steelers by 12. The week before they had the blown lead to the Jets. But now they come out in division play and beat the Steelers. So, hey, look at that. The Browns are 2-1 with Jacoby Brissett as their starting quarterback. They had their redemption. Steelers should probably start to worry, losing by 12 to one of the worst teams in their division, probably the worst team in their division. Browns aren't looking too bad. The Steelers should probably start considering Kenny Pickett as their starting quarterback. I'm not saying Mitch Trubisky played bad, but he went 20 for 32 and 207. That's not that good of a game, but I think it's acceptable. I don't know, Cowboy or fans, I don't know. NFL fans are weird. Jacoby Brissett came out 21 for 31, 220, and 2 touchdowns. He definitely outplayed Mitch Trubisky, which, personally, for Mitch Trubisky, that just can't happen for him. He can't let a guy like Jacoby Brissett come out there and outplay him like that. Najee Harris and Nick Chubb had a pretty good running back competition. 2 power backs, Receiving wise, you had Deontay Johnson come out, 8 catches, 84 yards, and Amari Cooper on the other side, finally having a breakout game, for the Browns here. 7 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown. We knew this was coming eventually. Let's move on to the Sunday games because we're going to talk about my Packers first, Packers Bucks. We talk about my team first, always. Aaron Rodgers throws for 2 touchdowns. Packers hold off Tom Brady and the Bucks by 2. The Buccaneers are very short-handed. I understand that, but look at Rodgers' receiving core and what he was able to do this game off of that. Wild finish with the 2-point conversion being tipped by Devondre Campbell. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, great battle there. Allen Lazard had a good touchdown catch, good throw by Rodgers there, and Romeo Doubs had a touchdown. Mike Evans getting in that fight with the Saints last week was definitely some negative momentum for the Buccaneers. But looking at the comparison here, Aaron Rodgers, he went 27 for 35 and had 2 touchdowns. He did have a pick, which was very uncharacteristic, but it is what it is. Tom Brady came out, went 31 for 42 and had a touchdown. So pretty good battle between these 2 quarterbacks. Aaron Jones and Leonard Fournette, a couple of nothing too impressive there. Leonard Fournette just goes for the 3-yard gains. Looking at, nothing too impressive offensively. I think this was just a good defensive game. The quarterbacks obviously dueled it out. Let's talk about Texans and Bears next. Roquan Smith interception sets up a game-winning field goal as the Bears beat the Texans by 3. Bears are 2-1. Obviously, the Texans are a pretty easy matchup, but given that the Colts beat the Chiefs and the Texans tied to the Colts, that might be saying something about this Texans team. Roquan Smith with that tip drill, man. Khalil Herbert came in with David Montgomery being injured, and he had the best week out of any running back. Damian Pierce had a couple of cool, decent plays for the Texans, but it wasn't enough. Davis Mills passed to Akins a couple of times. Khalil Herbert was just weaving through that Texans defense. So, Davis Mills, 20 for 32, 245 yards in the tutty, but he had 2 interceptions and an interception that cost them the game. Justin Fields, for what he was able to do, he threw 2 picks, but he had 106 yards, so I guess that's something to pull out of the week. Khalil Herbert, 20 carries, 157 yards, and 2 touchdowns, clearly a highlight there. Moore for the Cardinals, I think his name's CJ, or for the Texans, CJ Moore had 3 catches for 63 yards, while Cole Kmet had 2 catches for 40 yards. Moving on to the Raiders and the Titans. The Titans honestly pulled off an upset here. I did not think they were going to beat this Raiders team. These two teams are surprisingly unbeaten. Titans never trail in keeping the Raiders winless with a 2-point win. First one of the season for the Titans. Raiders failed a 2-point conversion. Derek Carr had a couple deflected interceptions. Ryan Tannehill played with a lot more motor this game. Derrick Henry as well. Swaim had his first touchdown of the year, I believe. But Derek Carr, 26 for 44, 303 yards, 2 touchdowns and an interception, which might have cost him in the grand scheme of things. Ryan Tannehill had an interception as well, but he went 19 for 27, 264 yards and a tutty. So that's a pretty good week for Ryan Tannehill. Sad to say. Josh Jacobs, though, 13 carries, 66 yards. Pretty impressive week for him. Pound for pound. Mac Hollins, oh my goodness, outplaying Devontae Adams somehow with 8 catches, 158 yards and a tutty. And on the other side, Robert Woods, 4 catches, 85 yards. Moving on to the Chiefs and Colts. Pretty good game here. Matt Ryan drives the Colts to their first win with a 3-point comeback versus the Chiefs. Matt Ryan keeping faith, one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the league in the last 15 years. Chris Jones had an unsportsmanlike penalty that kind of cost him a little bit. Mahomes got picked off a couple times, I think. Edwards-Helaire scored. Travis Kelce had a drop. There's muffed punts, a lot of mistakes for the Chiefs in this game. Patrick Mahomes, he went 20 for 35, 262 yards and a touchdown, but that interception might have cost them something because, Matt Ryan went 27 for 37 and had 2 touchdowns. So, running-wise, Patrick Mahomes had 4 carries, first 26 yards. He was their best running back on the field. Receiving-wise, you have Juju Smith-Schuster getting 5 grabs for 81 yards, having his breakout game on a new team. And that's that. Bills-Dolphins. Dolphins halt Josh Allen. They survived the butt punt to beat the Bills, one of the most memeable moments in recent NFL history here. The butt punt is the highlight. The offensive coordinator for the Bills losing it was a highlight. Chase Edmonds got in the end zone for the Dolphins. Tua threw a couple darts. Tua took a hard hit and should have gone through concussion protocol, but he ended up coming back and winning the game. Josh Allen, 42 for 63 and 2 touchdowns, while Tua Tagovailoa went 13 for 18, 186 yards and a touchdown. Running the ball, Josh Allen had 8 carries for 47 yards. Receiving-wise, we had Jalen Waddle, 4 catches, 102 yards. Those are kind of the best players in that game. Lions and Vikings, big division rivalry, and it was a pretty dramatic game. Vikings rallied past the Lions by 4 on K.J. Osborne's last-minute touchdown. Made some great plays that game. New coach Kevin O'Donnell, they're trying to make this offensive force an unpredictable offense, Vikings got the comeback win. Cousins to Osborne touchdown. Alexander Madison had some pretty good runs. And Dalvin Cook early in the game before an injury, I think. He might have got hurt, actually. And Jamal Williams got a taunting penalty, so maybe that was something. Jared Goff, 25 for 41, 277 yards and a touchdown, although he did throw an interception. We have Kirk Cousins with 24 for 41, 260 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook, before he went out, great game, 17 carries, 96 yards, and a touchdown. Reynolds, I think his name is Josh Reynolds, for the Lions, had 6 catches for 96, and K.J. Osborne had a great game, 5 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Ravens-Patriots. Lamar Jackson accounts for 5 touchdowns. Ravens hold off the Patriots by 11. Lamar Jackson breaking records on an MVP campaign. Taking it himself sometimes. Mac Jones suffered an ankle injury this game. Duvernay had a couple good catches off of Lamar. First career touchdown for Josh Oliver. And Devontae Parker had a good game. Good catches. Lamar Jackson, 18 for 29, 218 yards, 4 touchdowns, and although he had an interception, he still played a pretty good game there. Mac Jones, 22 for 32 and 321 yards, but he had an injury and 3 interceptions, so that's probably something. Lamar Jackson, 11 carries, 107 yards, and a touchdown, while Stevenson had a pretty good game for the Patriots himself, 12 carries, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Mark Andrews was just killing the Patriots defense, 8 catches, 89 yards, and 2 touchdowns, while Devontae Parker had probably one of the best receiving games, pound for pound of the year, 5 catches, 156 yards. I believe that's 30 yards a catch, maybe more. It was like 31 yards a catch. Bengals, Jets. Joe Burrow leads the Bengals to the first one of the season. They win by 15 over the Jets. Relaxed game. Quinnen Williams and the Jets D-line coach got heated. Jamar Chase touchdown for Joe Burrow. Tyler Boyd had a good game. Joe Burrow getting out of the pocket and making throws. I don't really have much to say. The coach was kind of questioning Joe Flacco's performance, But Joe Burrow, on the other hand, 23 for 36, 275 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Joe Flacco, he went 28 for 52 and had 285 yards, but he had 2 picks and couldn't get in the end zone. Perrine for the Bengals came out and played pretty impressive. 9 carries, 47 yards. Tyler Boyd on the receiving end, 4 catches, 105 yards and a tutty. And pretty sure that's Tyler Conklin, I want to say. For the Jets, he had 8 catches for 84. Up next is the Eagles and Commanders. Devontae Smith for the victory. He stars as the Eagles stay unbeaten. There's only 2 undefeated teams going into week 4. He just got it done. Soaring over defenders. Antonio Gibson was the only bright moment for the the Commanders. Ridiculous catch after ridiculous catch for Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown got his first touchdown as an Eagle, and Dallas Goedert had a couple good moves in that game as well. Jalen Hurts, 22 for 35, 340 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's leading an MVP campaign. And Carson Wentz went 25 for 43. That's about it. Receiving-wise, nothing really impressive on the running. Receiving-wise, Devontae Smith, 8 receptions for 169 yards and a touchdown, while scary Terry McLaurin had 6 catches for 102 yards. Moving on to Saints and Panthers. Panthers defeat the Saints by 8 to snap a 9-game losing streak. Chenault was... Chenault came back and he was inactive for a while, but he came back and made some defenders miss. Jameis Winston being Jameis Winston, throwing late interceptions. One-handed catch for Callaway, though. Mark Ingram playing pretty good for the Saints, but the Panthers had to scoop and score. A fumble off of Alvin Kamara. Jameis Winston, 25 for 41, 353 yards and a touchdown, but again, 2 picks late in the game. Baker Mayfield had 170 yards and a touchdown. Receiving-wise, Chris Olave, 9 catches, 147 yards, and Chenault for the Panthers had 2 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown. Jaguars-Chargers, biggest shock of the week. Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars root an ailing Justin Herbert and the Chargers by 28. They won by 4 touchdowns. They snapped an 18-game road losing streak. What a statement. Dominant second half. They might be finally getting rid of some curses here once and for all. Marvin Jones made some good catches. Joey Bosa had a groin injury. Christian Kirk, they're kind of getting their money's worth off of him. James Robinson had some big runs. Fumble recovery for the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, he went 28 for 39 and had 3 touchdowns. Justin Herbert, 5 for 45, 297 yards and a touchdown, although he had a pick and got outplayed by Trevor Lawrence. So he is kind of hurt, though. Can't blame him. James Robinson, 17 carries, 100 yards, and a touchdown, receiving-wise. Palmer of the Chargers had 6 catches for 99 yards. That's all there really is there. Rams and Cardinals. Rams continued dominance of the Cardinals with an 8-point victory. I mean, the defense was putting in work for the Rams, let's be honest. I mean, throw on the run for Kyler Murray, and they still were able to contain him. Cooper Kupp got a jet sweep touchdown. Akers fumbled on the Rams, but he recovered, so that's good. Let's see here. Matthew Stafford went 18 for 25 for 247 yards, and Kyler Murray went 37 for 58. Cam Akers had 12 carries for 61 yards and a touchdown. Receiving-wise, Skowronek had 4 catches for 66 yards, including a pancake of a lineman. That was great. And Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown, 14 catches, 140 yards for the Cardinals. So that's a bright moment for them. Falcons Seahawks is up next. Cordero Patterson rumbles the Falcons past the Seahawks by 4. Atlanta had to get their first one of the season. They had to have a good homecoming, I guess, off of a great game for Cordero Patterson. Geno Smith threw a late interception to seal the game. Drake London had a couple of good plays. DK Metcalf made some good catches. Cordero Patterson, though, wow. I mean, Geno Smith had some good throws, but that interception cost them the game, so it kind of discounted that. Marcus Mariota, 13 for 20, 229 yards and a touchdown. Although he threw an interception, he still got it done there. Geno Smith, 32 for 44, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a costly interception. Cordero Patterson, he had 17 carries for 141 yards and a touchdown. Kyle Pitts had 5 catches for 87 yards. So yeah, Falcons were firing on all cylinders, using their weapons. 49ers and Broncos. These primetime games were pretty piss poor. Broncos and Russell Wilson edged the Niners and Jimmy Garoppolo by 1 in primetime. 9 3-and-outs. No touchdown passes for the Broncos. 126 yards passing. One of the ugliest games of Russell Wilson's career. Really was. I mean, Broncos had a couple good turnovers on defense. Melvin Gordon led the pack on the scoring. Jimmy G stepping out of bounds for some reason. I don't know how he did that. Niners got the ball rolling pretty early in this game, but they could not keep it up. Dan Orlovsky kind of not feeling alone in the stepping out of bounds thing, but he literally ran the out of bounds line, so his was a little more, extreme. Jimmy Garoppolo went 18 for 29 at 211 yards and a touchdown, but an interception that cost them the game pretty much. And Russell Wilson went 20 for 33, picking up in the completion percentage from last week. Jeff Wilson, great game for the Niners, 12 carries, 75 yards. Receiving-wise, Deebo Samuel, he had 5 catches for 73 yards, and Cortland Sutton had 8 catches for 97. Going to the Monday night game, the game from yesterday, Cowboys, Giants. CeeDee Lamb's one-handed touchdown catch gives Dallas a 7-point win over the Giants. He made a big drop, but he made up for it in this game. Game-winning interception for Trayvon Diggs, although it was a terrible throw. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb, great catch. Sterling Shepard suffered a late-game injury. Cowboys-Giants post-game had some rivalry flares. Ezekiel Elliott had a couple of powerful runs, so that's good. He did have a pretty embarrassing drop, CeeDee Lamb did, but he recovered. But anyway, Cooper Rush came out 21 for 31, 215 yards and a touchdown. Daniel Jones threw 20 for 37 and had a game-costing interception. What a game for Troy Pollard, though. 13 carries, 105 yards, and Saquon Barkley following suit in a great run game, 14 carries for 81 yards and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb had 8 catches and 87 yards for a touchdown, and yeah, that's about does it. I'm out. Have a good rest of your guys' week, day, whatever.